Welcome back to the SimNet. Today we are taking a look at Jester, the backseat AI developed by Heatblur Simulations for their F-14 Tomcat module in DCS World. Now, you may notice that my Jester AI sounds a little bit different than yours, and we're going to get into that once I splash this bandit.
I want to see an explosion. Coming up on 400. Keep it steady. Keep up that flying.
There we go. Thanks, Jester.
Whether it's in the air, on land, the sea, or under it, the SimNet is your simulation network.
Many of you have by now seen my total voice replacement mod, Jester. If you haven't yet, I have linked the original video and mod file below. I recently updated the mod to fix a few erroneous lines that some kind folks in the forums pointed out to me, as well as added some new expanded lines as well. With that out of the way, today I want to show you how anyone can make a total voice replacement mod with a little patience and some free software. So let's get started. First things first, if you want to create your own Jester voice replacement mod, you need to locate the Jester sound files in your DCS World installs. So I've got Steam, so I'm under Steam, Steam Apps Common, DCS World Mods, Aircraft, F-14, Sounds, Jester. And as always, before you edit anything in the core files of DCS, do make a copy of your file and put that copy somewhere safe in a different folder on your desktop, wherever, because if you delete some files by accident, you want to be able to replace the original folder with no problems. Okay, so in the Jester folder, you'll see that we have a number of call types. So for example, under aircraft, we have all of the aircraft in DCS. And let's take the example of a Blackjack, a Russian bomber.
Blackjack.
Now, you may notice that my Jester sounds a little bit different than yours, and that's because my Jester is just her, the female Rio, which is a voice mod that I have uploaded for free in the DCS mod section. So if you want this mod,
Blackjack,
you can download it for free right now. But if you want to make your own, keep watching. So this is the original unaltered Jester. So let's see what they sound like.
Blackjack.
All right.
Blackjack.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to replace these voice files with, for example, my own, if I wanted to record some right now. Blackjack. Blackjack. I could rename this file and save it as an OGG file. So Blackjack, for example, here is the original file, and this file is an .ogg. That's an audio file type. So as long as this file here is a .ogg and it's named the same thing, and I replace this file, this is what will play in my F-14. It's just an audio file replacement. So let's listen to it again. Blackjack.
Blackjack.
Okay. Now, you might notice that the audio from Jester sounds far more authentic. And that's because Heatblur Simulations are professionals. And they are using professional audio software to synthesize a type of radio filter that is very, very authentic to the real F-14. If you've ever listened to audio recordings of, the Gulf of Sidra incident or other F-14 related media, you will notice that Jester sounds very, very similar to those Rios because of the type of extremely professional audio filtering that Heatblur has done. So recording your own voice lines, converting to OGG, and throwing them in your Jester library, that is one way to do it. But for that added layer of immersion, we can add one more step, and that is Audacity. Now, Audacity is a free software, an audio editor. You can use it for music. In my case, I usually use it to export files as .ogg as opposed to using an online exporter or something along those lines. So I'm just going to delete some of the dead air from my line here again, blackjack. The other thing that's great about Audacity is that you can add effects. So I can add some distortion. I'm just going to select it here. Add some distortion. For example, if I wanted to sound a little bit more like a radio, blackjack. That's a little bit better. Now, I've gone through and I've created what is called a macro, and I call it the radio macro. And this is what it sounds like. Blackjack. So it's a little bit of, actually, let's open it up here. It's a bit of distortion, an EQ curve and filter, a little bit of amplification, and then finally it exports as OGG. And I've made this macro available. By all means, you can tinker around with this. If you're an Audacity whiz or you understand high pass and low pass filters and that sort of thing, you can create your own that can make your voice sound very, very close to Jester's as well. And what Audacity does, and this macro in particular, is that it then exports the file as an OGG. Blackjack. And now if I wanted to, again, I could throw this into my Jester folder, and then this is what I would hear when Jester calls out a blackjack in DCS. So that's part one of the video, and that's how you can make your own Jester voice replacement mod. Now for part two. You may be familiar with this. This is 11 Labs. This is a text-to-speech AI. What this allows you to do is enter text and have it spit out an audio file.
Blackjack.
Now that might sound familiar,
Blackjack.
and that is because this
Blackjack.
is just her, the female Rio. That's correct. Many of you called it out immediately. Some of you were fooled, I will say. This is the audio that I used for the free Jester mod. And you can see the similarities already.
Blackjack. Blackjack.
So, a few caveats. 11 Labs is free, but it has a 10,000 character limit per month. So to replace the entire Jester library would take several months. Alternatively, there are paid tiers, and depending on how many times you generate the audio file to get something that you like, it can range from, I don't know, maybe $100 US to 200 on the high end if you're regenerating lines constantly. Now, that is steep. That's the cost of, one very high-end DCS module at full price or two. But it is significantly less than hiring a voice actor, for example. And that's kind of the space where I believe AI voices fit. If this were a professional product, for example, if I purchased the F-14 Tomcat for the first time, the module in DCS World, and the backseater was an AI-generated voice, I probably wouldn't support that as much. But if it's a free mod for a professional product that hired a human voice actor, if it's just a mod and it's something that's available for free and you can choose to download it or not, it's entirely up to you. I believe that the AI voices do add a little bit of spice to life in that sense. So I wouldn't want to see this in a full fidelity mod, but for a free mod, I think that this is a sweet spot, because what it enables you to do is to diversify your experience at low cost, and just have a little bit more immersion. For example, if you wanted to hear somebody different in the back. The great thing about 11 Labs is that there are several pre-made voices available. So if we wanted to hear somebody else,
Blackjack.
There we go. Okay. Let's give it a little bit more intensity.
Blackjack.
All right. A lot more intensity. Okay. So we can grab that file, throw that into Audacity again, just like we did for the recorded file, run the macro.
Blackjack.
And there you go. There it is. As long as we rename this folder, this file, the same as the DCS file, when we throw this in here, it this is what you will hear in DCS instead of this. And it's as easy as that. It is really quite straightforward. It is easy to generate these lines. Generally, what I did when I made the Jester mod is I would listen.
C-17.
And then enter that into 11 Labs.
C-17.
There you have it, folks. If you want to fly around with somebody new in the backseat of your F-14 Tomcat, now you can. A few caveats, of course. There are over 11,000 voice lines in the Jester library, so re-recording those lines would likely take a few weeks or even months, certainly not for the faint of heart. That being said, if you're going the AI voice route, 11 Labs does have an API, and maybe someone smarter than me can figure out some sort of macro to have it generate the entire library in one go. I haven't figured it out yet, though. Thanks again, all of you, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. It certainly helps me out and helps me create more cool content for you in the future. All the best, and see you next time.